Okay, so we're just gonna be testing the sound, and I guess everything is all right. So we can start transmitting, okay? Perfect. So today we're gonna be talking about a really interesting node that is the trim curve node, okay? So you're gonna be able to notice that this node is actually really funny because you can play a lot with this node, okay? Like for example, do something like this or like this. Okay, so this is gonna help you create really interesting animations. So for that, we're just gonna create um, a new file, and let's just save this. And of course, as always, I'm gonna be just showing you the node, and then we're gonna be checking the documentation. That it's actually really interesting, and it's gonna show us some important tips that we need to know at the time of using this node. Okay, so let's just create an spiral. Let's just curve primitives and curve spiral. Perfect. Um, so this we can just go ahead and maybe decrease its resolution and increase its rotations, like make a lot of this. Okay, and we can go ahead and add our trim curve node that it's gonna be just here. So we just have to click on it. Okay. Um, so at the time when you add the node, of course, anything seems to be going on. But let's just try to check. So this node has like two options, okay, that are the factor and the length, okay? And we're going to be able to notice the difference of those options just right after just like when we get to the manual, okay? So then let's just add a curve to mesh node, maybe. So curve to mesh here. Okay, and let's just add something like a profile curve that it can be, I don't know, like an arc, I guess. Okay, perfect. We have something like this. We can decrease this radius and increase the height of this. Okay, and um, increase maybe the rotations and I guess that'll be it. Okay, perfect. So the important thing here is that the trim curve node just basically it just like as its name says trims the curve. So here if you like move the start, it's gonna be trimming the curve at the start of the curve. And if you move the end, it's gonna be trimming the curve at the end of the curve. Okay? And if you do it with length, um, like in this case the factor option, it's like more for when you have a curve like this that is really big and you don't want to be like making that much changes. But if you want to make a slow paced change in the curve, you can use this option. You see, like it goes constructing the curve, just just that you need to have a lot of patience maybe. So because this is just taking the length of the curve, okay? And this curve is really long, so you're gonna need to keep that in mind, okay? It's gonna be slow, like in this case, it's really fast. You see? So it depends really, most of all, in what you need. Okay, let's just see what the documentation says about it. So it says that the trim curve node shortens each spline in the curve by removing sections at the start and at an end of each spline. That's exactly what I just said. So let's just try to see what happens if we, because in this case uh, we have just one spline, right? But what happens if, for example, we use this node like with a curve with more splines? So, for example, let's just add a curve, and then let's just click on Bezier curve. Let's just move it in X uh, here. Okay, perfect. So, and then let's just go to edit mode, and let's just start like drawing uh, a couple more of splines. So we have three splines now, and we can just um, copy this. And of course, we're gonna be using this geometry in this case. Oh, so we just have to copy. I'm sorry. We just have to copy this, and then we can connect this. Okay, so let's just see what happens with the trim curve node here. You see, it starts like moving each spline, okay, like separatedly. Like this isn't like the other node, like there was a node that it started by one and then the other and then the other. No, this is like different. You see, like well, this is too much. So let's just go with 10. Okay, so like all of the curves are gonna be changing at the same time. Okay, that is like really important. Let's just see what else the manual has to say. So here it says also that Bezier splines will still be Bezier splines in the output, with the first and last control points and its handles moved as necessary to preserve the shape. Okay, so there's not going to be any change in this type of spline, but in NURBS splines, those splines will be transformed into poly splines, because as you know, like these type of splines like are really created with some sort of uh, with some sort of calculation and all of that, and so they need to be transformed in polysplines in order to be trimmed, because polysplines are like the most simple of the splines. Okay, um, this is important. Currently, the trim core node does not support cyclic splines. So, for example, if you try to use this node, I don't know, like if we change this spiral for something like a star. So let's just curve primitives star. Okay. You see that anything's gonna be changing, because what's going on here is that you just, I mean, by now this just doesn't work with this type of splines. Okay, with the cyclic splines, it just doesn't work. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind. What else can I tell you? Okay, so let's just go back to the manual, and then it says that okay, there is a note, and it says that since curve normals are calculated the final curve, this node might change the resulting normals when the minimum twist method is used. Since the minimum method considers the entire length of the curve to decide the final normals, since the okay, in some cases, the capture attribute node could be used to avoid this by saving the original normals to be used later. Okay, so this thing with the normals is just that basically, you know that the normals all are like in the curves are calculated in a particular way. Okay, they have like a twist method, because to create 3D curves, there's like that method needs to be used. But if you like, something that you can do is that you can change the method of the twist here. Okay, you can change it into tangent or to C up or something like that, and that it's gonna be that might help also. Okay, or you can use the capture attribute node, and that can help too. Okay, so the normals don't change because they're going to be changing. Okay. Okay. So next, the manual says that well, it is talking us about like the inputs. So one of them is the curve. Like it's like you just have to put a curve here. Then it's the start. That is the factor or length used to determine where to start each output spline. So that means like where do you want to start this curve? You know, like which one is the part, and since which part do you want the curve to start, like to get an output? Okay. If the start input is larger than the end, then the resulting splines will have a single point located at the sample location of the start value. Okay, so what this says basically is that like um, if you, for example, move this, let's just do it with a factor. If you move this more than, like this has a bigger amount than this, then this is gonna have like just one point that we can't see, but it's gonna be there and it's gonna be located here, like at this point. Okay, not at this point, but at this point. There's gonna be just one point and nothing else in this curve. Okay. What else? Then the next thing it'll be that, well, the end. Okay, so it says that the factor or length used to determine where to end each output spline. Okay, so in which part do you want the spline to stop coming out? Okay, so the properties. Okay, so there are two modes how to find input positions for the trimmed spline. So one of them is factor, the other one is length. In the case of the factor, it just needs to be from 0 to 1. Um, as you can see, like this is gonna take the whole, here it's gonna be contain the whole amount of the spline, like the whole length of the spline, and that's it. And in the case of the length, well, it's gonna be, you're gonna need to like consider the whole length of the spline. Okay. um and that'll be it. That your output is gonna be a curve, and that's it. There you have it. So let's just play a little bit with this. I don't know, like for example, let's just check. You see that this is like building something. You see like growing and growing and growing and growing. Like I don't know. I think that someone might need to use this option, like in this case. Um, but that depends. That depends a lot on everything that we want to do. Okay. So well, that's basically it for this video. Okay. If you like it, and if it was helpful for you, I hope you can give it a like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.